The alarm screamed through Deep Space Monitoring Station Kepler 7 at 3 in the morning. Park Jin-woo rolled out of his narrow bunk, his bare feet hitting the cold metal floor. After 12 years working the night shift, he could tell the difference between a real alert and another false alarm just by the sound. This one made his stomach twist with worry. He ran down the empty corridor, his footsteps echoing in the quiet station. The main control room was already buzzing with activity when he arrived. Kim Hyejin sat at her communication console, her dark hair falling across her face as she stared at the screens with wide eyes. "What do we have?" Jin-woo asked, sliding into his command chair. "Something big," Hyejin whispered, without looking away from her display. "Really big. The quantum detector picked it up about 10 minutes ago. The signal is coming from Proxima Centauri." Jin-woo felt his heart skip a beat. Proxima Centauri was the closest star system to Earth, but it was still over 4 light-years away. Nothing from there should be reaching them, except natural radiation and cosmic background noise. "Are you sure it's not equipment failure?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. Hyejin was the best communication specialist in the Outer Rim. If she said something was there, something was there. "I've run every diagnostic twice," she replied. "Jin-woo, this signal is artificial. Someone made it." The words hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. In all of human history, they had never detected a confirmed alien signal. There had been false hopes, mistaken readings, and wishful thinking, but never the real thing. Dr. Lee Min-ho stumbled into the control room, his gray hair sticking up. At odd angles, the station science officer had clearly been sleeping when the alert came through. "What's the emergency?" he mumbled, rubbing his eyes. "We might have found them," Jin-woo said quietly. "The aliens. They're talking to us." Min-ho was suddenly very awake. He rushed to his workstation and began pulling up the signal analysis. Numbers and graphs filled his screens as the computer tried to make sense of what they were receiving. "My God," Min-ho breathed. "Look at this pattern. It's mathematical. Basic prime numbers at first, then it gets more complex. This is definitely intelligent. Someone is trying to communicate." For the next 3 hours, the small team worked frantically to decode the message. They called in specialists from Earth, waking up professors and scientists in the middle of their night shifts. The quantum communication network buzzed with activity. As humanity's brightest minds focused on the signal from space, as the sun rose over the small station, the pattern became clearer. The aliens were sending star maps, showing the location of various systems, including their own. They were teaching humans about mathematics and physics, proving they understood the same natural laws. Most importantly, they were showing detailed coordinates that pointed directly at Earth's solar system. "They know where we are," Hyejin said softly. "They've been watching us." "But look at how they're communicating," Min-ho added, excitement growing in his voice. "This is peaceful, educational. They're trying to teach us, not threaten us. This is exactly how we hoped first contact would happen." Jin-woo stared at the decoded message scrolling across his screen. After decades of wondering if humans were alone in the universe, they finally had their answer. And the aliens seemed friendly. He opened a direct channel to Earth Defense Coalition headquarters. Within minutes, Admiral Choi Da-sam appeared on his screen, her sharp eyes taking in every detail of their discovery. "Confirm your findings, Commander Park," she said in her crisp, professional voice. "Admiral, we have confirmed artificial signals from the Proxima Centauri system. The message appears to be peaceful in nature and shows advanced mathematical and scientific knowledge. They know our location and seem to want communication." Admiral Choi nodded slowly. "This is the moment we've prepared for. I'm activating the first contact protocol immediately. Dr. Lee, I need you to prepare a detailed analysis of everything they've sent. We need to understand their intentions completely before we respond." Over the next week, the station became the most important place in human space. Scientists, linguists, and diplomats arrived daily. The small monitoring post transformed into humanity's first embassy to the stars. The aliens continued sending information, building on their initial mathematical concepts to share knowledge about physics, chemistry, and even basic biology. They seemed genuinely curious about human science and culture. Dr. Nam Soyoung, Earth's lead xenolinguistics expert, worked day and night to prepare humanity's response. "We need to be careful," she warned during one late-night meeting. "This could be the most important conversation in human history." Ginwoo watched the expert's work and felt a deep sense of pride. His little monitoring station had discovered the greatest secret in the universe. Humans were not alone, and their new neighbors seemed to want to be friends. 3 weeks after that first signal, Earth sent its reply. A carefully crafted message that shared human mathematics, science, and peaceful intentions. It was broadcast toward Proxima Centauri, with the hopes that it would begin a new age of cooperation between two intelligent species. The celebration that followed reached every corner of human space. From Earth to the outer colonies, people danced in the streets and dreamed of a future filled with alien friends and cosmic knowledge. None of them suspected that they had just made the biggest mistake in human history. 18 months passed like a pleasant dream. Humanity built new radio telescopes, trained diplomats in xenocommunication, and prepared welcome centers for their new alien friends. Children in schools drew pictures of what the visitors might look like. Scientists worked overtime creating translation programs. The world had never been more united or hopeful. Captain Yoon Taehan was having his morning coffee aboard the orbital defense platform Sol 7 when reality shattered like glass. "Sir," called Sergeant Lee Bonhua from the sensor station, his voice tight with confusion. "I'm reading multiple contacts past Mars orbit, but that's impossible. Nothing was there 5 minutes ago." Taehyun set down his cup and moved to the main display. 17 sleek shapes hung in space where empty darkness had been moments before. They were beautiful in a terrifying way, like crystalline sculptures carved from starlight. Each ship was easily 3 times larger than humanity's biggest space station. How did they get past our early warning systems? Taehyun asked quietly. "Sir, they didn't get past them. They just appeared like they stepped out of nothing." Before Taehyun could respond, every communication channel on his ship exploded with activity. The aliens were broadcasting on every frequency at once, a message reaching every radio, television, communication device in the solar system simultaneously. Lieutenant Park. Subin ran the signal through the translation matrix they had spent months perfecting. Her face went pale as the words appeared on her screen. "Captain, you need to see this." Taehyun read the message and felt his blood turn to ice water. "Primitive species of the third planet. You have 36 hours to surrender all military assets and submit to integration processing. Resistance will result in total extinction. We are the Zephyrians of the Galactic Hegemony. Your radio transmissions have marked you for absorption. Compliance is not optional." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of life support systems. These were not the peaceful explorers humanity had dreamed of. These were conquerors. "Sir," Subin whispered, "there's more data coming through. They're sending us records of other worlds." The secondary display lit up with images that would haunt Taehyun's nightmares forever. 17 different planets, 17 different alien species, all reduced to smoking ruins. Cities turned to ash, populations enslaved or eliminated. Each conquest had followed the same pattern, a demand for surrender, followed by overwhelming destruction when the inhabitants resisted. On Earth, Admiral Choi Dazum stared at the same horrifying images in the emergency command bunker deep beneath Geneva. The room was packed with military leaders from every nation, their faces grim as the reality of their situation became clear. Dr. Nam Soyoung, xenolinguistics expert who had helped prepare humanity's peaceful response, stood trembling at her workstation. "Admiral, I've analyzed their transmission protocols. This is the same network that sent us the original signal. They've been watching us for much longer than 18 months. "What do you mean?" Admiral Choi asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. "The first signal wasn't a greeting," Nam So-young said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It was a survey. They were studying our technology, our language, our defenses. Everything we sent back just gave them more information about how to conquer us." General Kim Jong-soo, commander of the Asian Defense Alliance, slammed his fist on the table. 18 months. They gave us 18 months to feel safe, to let our guard down, to think we had friends in the universe. Admiral Choi studied the tactical display showing the enemy fleet. 17 ships against the entire human species. Under normal circumstances, those odds would be laughable. But these ships had already proven they could appear anywhere without warning. Their technology was clearly far beyond anything humanity possessed. "What are our options?" she asked her staff. Commander Oh Young-ho, head of strategic planning, cleared his throat nervously. "Conventionally speaking, we have none. Their ships are too advanced, too powerful. Even if we threw everything we had at them, our simulations show a 0% chance of victory." Conventionally speaking, Admiral Choi repeated slowly. What about unconventionally? The room fell quiet as everyone turned to look at her. Young-ho's eyes widened as he realized what she was suggesting. "Admiral, Protocol Lazarus was designed as a last resort. The collateral damage alone, ... The collateral damage of fighting is nothing compared to the collateral damage of extinction," she replied firmly. "How long would activation take? 6 hours to bring all systems online? But Admiral, once we start this, there's no going back. The secret will be out forever." Admiral Choi looked around the room at the faces of humanity's defenders. Soldiers from every nation who had spent their lives preparing for war against each other, now united against an enemy from the stars. Ladies and gentlemen, for the past 50 years, humanity has been preparing for this day without knowing it. Every classified project, every secret weapon, every hidden installation was built because we knew that someday someone would try to take our freedom away. She activated the quantum communicator that connected to every military base, every space station, every hidden facility throughout the solar system. All stations, all commands. This is Admiral Choi, with authorization Omega-7. Activate Protocol Lazarus immediately. Show these aliens what happens when someone threatens humanity. The Zephyrians had conquered 17 civilizations. They'd never encountered a species that had spent its entire existence learning how to fight. That was about to change. The response was unlike anything in human history. Within hours of Admiral Choi's transmission, something miraculous happened across Earth and its colonies. Ancient enemies became instant allies. Nations that had been at war for decades opened their most classified files to each other. Corporate rivals shared technology they had guarded for years. Religious leaders from every faith called for unity. The entire human species moved as one organism with a single purpose: survival. Major Oh Soon-ho received the activation codes at his mining facility on the asteroid series. For 15 years, he'd pretended to run a simple rock extraction operation. His workers believed they were digging for rare metals to send back to Earth. They had no idea they were actually maintaining humanity's most devastating secret weapon. "Attention all personnel," he announced over the facility's communication system. "This is not a drill. Activate Emergency Protocol 7. All civilian staff report to emergency shelters immediately." As his workers hurried to safety, Oh Soon-jo walked to the facility's real control center, hidden deep inside the asteroid's core. Doll. His fingers danced across controls that hadn't been touched in years. Around him, massive machinery hummed too. Life. The asteroid began to split open like a flower. What the aliens would see wasn't a mining operation anymore. It was a kinetic bombardment system capable of accelerating tungsten projectiles to incredible speeds. The rocks they had been mining were actually perfectly shaped ammunition. Waiting for this moment, on Mars, Colonel Bae Soo-jin watched her. Atmospheric processors transform into something far more dangerous. The terraformed domes that had supposedly been preparing the planet for human colonization cracked open with mechanical precision. Inside each dome sat quantum disruption cannons that could tear apart matter at the molecular level. "Control this. Is Mars Defense Station Alpha?" she reported to Earth. "All positions are active and ready. The red planet isn't so peaceful anymore." Her assistant, Lieutenant Choi Minesio, stared in amazement at the weapons emerging from their disguises. "Colonel, how long has this equipment been here?" "Since the first colony ships arrived," Bae Soo-jin replied. Every terraformed dome, every agriculture center, every research station on Mars has been hiding military hardware. We've been preparing for this day for 30 years. The outer solar system, Lieutenant Commander Zhang Wubin coordinated the greatest revelation of all. Across the asteroid belt, cargo haulers began shedding their innocent outer hulls. Mining vessels powered up weapons arrays that had been cleverly disguised as drilling equipment. Communications satellites transformed into autonomous combat platforms. Equipped with plasma cannons, Europa Station, supposedly humanity's most peaceful research facility, opened hidden bays that released swarms of unmanned fighters. The moons of Jupiter, Saturn, and even distant Neptune revealed military installations that had been operating in complete secrecy.
Oh my God,
breathed Dr. Kong Myung from her position aboard Kepler 7 monitoring station. We've weaponized the entire solar system. She wasn't wrong. For decades, human military planners had been preparing for an invasion they hoped would never come. Every space mission had a secret secondary purpose. Every colony ship carried hidden weapons. Every peaceful research station was actually a fortress waiting for activation. The asteroid belt alone contained over 3,000 disguised weapons platforms. Each one had been built by workers who believed they were constructing mining equipment or scientific instruments. The security had been so complete that even most military personnel didn't know the full scope of protocol. Lazarus Commander Park Ji-hoon piloted his cargo ship toward the rendezvous point near Jupiter. Like hundreds of other merchant vessels, his ship looked completely harmless from the outside. But hidden in his cargo hold was enough explosive power to destroy a small moon. "All units, this is Fleet Command," came Admiral Choi's voice over the secure channel. "Phase 1 activation is complete. We now have active weapons platforms from Mercury orbit to the Kuiper belt. Total count: 15,627 individual systems." The number stunned even the military commanders who had helped plan Protocol Lazarus. No one had realized just how extensive the preparations had become over the decades. On Luna Base, General Kim Jong-soo watched the tactical display as hidden installations revealed themselves throughout the solar system. The moon itself was splitting open in dozens of places, exposing massive railguns that had been disguised as mining equipment for 50 years. "Admiral Choi," he reported, "Luna defense grid is fully active. We have direct line of sight to the alien fleet, requesting permission to begin targeting solutions." "Granted," Admiral Choi replied. "All stations, begin target acquisition. Remember, we get one chance at surprise. After the first shot, they'll know what we're capable of." Dr. Kung Myung coordinated with Earth's quantum computers to calculate, firing solutions for thousands of weapons scattered across billions of kilometers of space. The math was incredibly complex, requiring precise timing to ensure all systems would fire simultaneously. "Admiral," she reported, "targeting solutions complete. We have locks on all 17 enemy vessels. Probability of success ... unknown. No species has ever attempted anything like this before." Admiral Choi looked around the command center at the faces of humanity's defenders. Representatives from every nation, every colony, every walk of life, all working together with perfect coordination. "Then we'll be the first," she said firmly. "All stations, all platforms, all installations throughout the solar system. This is Admiral Choi with final authorization. It's for Earth, for humanity, for everyone who believes freedom is worth fighting for. Execute Protocol Lazarus. Fire everything we have." The greatest military secret in human history was about to become the galaxy's most shocking surprise. The Zephyrian fleet moved toward Earth with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat. Admiral Vexcorth stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the primitive blue planet grow larger on his displays. As in 3 centuries of conquest, he had destroyed 17 civilizations. This would be number 18. "Commander Zekvorth, begin standard bombardment patterns," he ordered his weapons officer. "Target their major population centers first. Leave enough survivors for integration processing." "Yes, Admiral." Charging plasma bombardment systems. The Zephyrians had perfected their technique over hundreds of years. Their energy shields could deflect any primitive weapons. Their plasma cannons could turn entire continents into glass. They had expected some resistance from the humans, but their scouts reported only basic chemical rockets and simple nuclear weapons. Nothing that could threaten ships designed to conquer star systems. They were completely unprepared for what happened. Next, the first kinetic projectile came from the asteroid series, accelerated to 15% of light speed. It was just a tungsten rod no bigger than a telephone pole, but it struck the Zephyrian flagship with the force of a small star exploding. The alien ship's perfect energy shields, designed to deflect plasma and laser fire, meant nothing against solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. Admiral Vexkorath's ship simply ceased to exist. "What was that?" screamed Commander Telnexus from the second ship. "Where did that attack come from?" Before anyone could answer, the second wave hit. From Mars, quantum disruption cannons fired invisible beams that tore apart alien hull materials. At the molecular level, 3 Zephyrian destroyers broke apart like paper dolls as their atomic bonds dissolved. Captain Yoon Tae-han watched from his defense platform as the enemy formation scattered in confusion. Sol 7 to all stations, swarm protocol is now active. Release everything we have. From every hidden installation across the solar system, clouds of autonomous drones emerged. Millions of them, each no larger than a basketball, but programmed. With deadly intelligence, Zephyrians had never seen anything like it. Their sensors couldn't track individual targets when faced with such overwhelming numbers. Lieutenant Park Subin coordinated the drone swarms from her console. "Captain, the aliens are trying to retreat to minimum safe distance. They're not used to fighting this close to a planet. That's their mistake," Tae-han replied grimly. "We know this solar system better than they do." Major Oh Sung-ho piloted his kinetic bombardment platform through the asteroid belt, lining up his next shot. The Ceres facility had revealed its true purpose, and now the entire asteroid was one massive weapon. "Target acquired," he reported. "Firing solution locked." Another tungsten projectile screamed across space at impossible speed. This time it struck a Zephyrian cruiser in the engine section. The explosion lit up the darkness like a second sun. Commander Park Ji-hoon received his final orders as he piloted his cargo ship straight into the enemy formation. His vessel looked harmless, but hidden in its hold was a quantum torpedo, the size of a city bus. "This is cargo hauler Bizen 7, he transmitted to his fellow pilots. "Remember me to my family." At the last second, his ship's hull peeled away like flower petals, revealing the massive warhead inside. Park Ji-hoon didn't survive the explosion, but neither did the 3 Zephyrian destroyers caught in the blast radius. The battle that should have lasted minutes stretched into hours. Every human ship that died took aliens with it. Every destroyed platform activated its self-destruct sequence in a way designed to cause maximum damage to nearby enemies. Colonel Bay Sujin coordinated the Mars defense grid as alien plasma fire rained down on her position. "All dome weapons, continuous fire," she ordered. "Don't let them reorganize." Her quantum disruption cannons carved through space, creating invisible death rays that the Zephyrians couldn't see coming until their ships started falling apart. The aliens had never fought an enemy that used such strange weapons. Dr. Kung tracked the battle from her monitoring station, coordinating targeting data between thousands of scattered weapons platforms. "Admiral Choi, enemy formation is breaking apart. They're trying to retreat." "Don't let them," Admiral Choi replied firmly. "Every ship that escapes will bring reinforcements. This ends here, today." Lieutenant Commander Jang Woo-bin led a formation of disguised mining vessels. In a final attack run, his ships looked like harmless cargo haulers until they opened fire with hidden plasma cannons. The Zephyrians, already confused and demoralized, couldn't tell which human ships were military and which were civilian. That was exactly the point, Major. Oh Sung-ho's final transmission came as his asteroid base prepared to overload its reactor core. Half the Ceres facility had been destroyed by enemy fire, but he wasn't finished fighting. "For Earth," he said quietly into his radio. "For humanity. For everyone who comes after us." The explosion could be seen from Jupiter. When the quantum disruption Fields finally cleared, and the debris stopped spinning. The battlefield was eerily quiet. 8 of the 17 Zephyrian ships were nothing but wreckage. The remaining 9 limped away from Earth's solar system, broadcasting desperate retreat, signals to their distant empire. But humanity wasn't finished with them yet. The species that had conquered 17 worlds had just learned a terrible lesson. Some civilizations don't go quietly into the night. The smoking remains of the Zephyrian fleet disappeared into the darkness beyond Pluto's orbit, leaving behind a debris field that would orbit Earth's sun for 1,000 years. In the command bunker beneath Geneva, Admiral Choi Dasam watched the tactical display as the last enemy signals faded from their screens. "Damage report," she ordered quietly. Commander Oh Young-ho read from his tablet with a heavy voice. "We lost 60% of our hidden installations. Over 30,000 military personnel killed in action. Ceres base is completely destroyed. Mars defense grid is at 20% capacity." The numbers were staggering, but Admiral Choi knew they could have been worse. Much worse. If the aliens had been prepared for humanity's secret weapons, the battle would have ended very differently. Dr. Kang Myung looked up from her workstation where she had been analyzing captured alien technology. During the battle, several Zephyrian ships had been crippled rather than destroyed, and human recovery teams had managed to salvage pieces of their communication systems. "Admiral," she said, excitement growing in her tired voice, "I think I found something important." "What is it, Doctor?" "Their quantum communication network. It's incredibly advanced, but I've been able to crack the basic protocols." "This isn't just ship-to-ship communication. This network connects their entire galactic empire. Every conquered world, every military base, every government facility." Admiral Choi felt a cold smile spread across her face. "Are you telling me we can access their entire communication system?" "More than that," Dr. Kang Myung replied, "we can broadcast to it. We can send a message to every corner of their empire simultaneously." The implications hit everyone in the room at the same time. They had not only defeated the invasion force, they now had access to the enemy's most secure communication channels. "What kind of message did you have in mind, Doctor?" Admiral Choi asked. "The kind that will make sure they never underestimate humans again." Working around the clock for 3 days, Dr. Kang Myung and her team prepared humanity's response to the galaxy. They used the same mathematical principles the Zephyrians had taught them, but with a very different purpose. Captain Kim Hae-jin, now promoted to Director of Zenit Communications, helped coordinate the technical aspects of the broadcast. "The signal will reach every communication relay in their network," she explained. "Every conquered world, every military commander, every government official will receive this message simultaneously." "And what exactly are we telling them?" asked General Kim Jong-dash-soo. Dr. Kang Myung pulled up the final version of their message on the main display. "We're sending them star charts showing the debris field around Earth, mathematical proofs of our weapons' effectiveness. And then we're giving them our coordinates with a simple translation in every language they know." She pressed a button, and words appeared on the screen. "We are here. Come if you think you can take us." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the boldness of what they were about to do. Most civilizations that defeated an invasion would hide, hoping to avoid further attention. Humanity was doing the opposite. They were announcing their victory to the entire galaxy and daring anyone else to try their luck. "Admiral Commander," Oh Young-ho said nervously, "this will make us enemies across the galaxy. Every species in their empire will know we exist and where to find us. They'll also know what happened to the last group that tried to conquer us." Admiral Choi replied firmly. "Sometimes the best defense is making sure everyone knows you can fight back."
Oh, no, no.
The transmission went out on a Tuesday morning, Earth time. It traveled across the galaxy on quantum relay networks that the Zephyrians had built to maintain their empire. In seconds, the message reached star systems hundreds of light years away. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within hours, new signals began arriving at monitoring stations across human space. But these weren't threats or demands for surrender, or something completely unexpected. Captain Park Jin-woo, still stationed at Kepler 7 despite its new importance, was the first to decode the incoming messages. "Admiral, you need to see this," he reported during an emergency conference call. What are we receiving, Commander Park? Requests for alliance. Offers of trade agreements and ... pleas for help. Dr. Nam Soyoung, working alongside the translation teams, confirmed what they were hearing. The conquered species are reaching out to us. They want to know if we'll protect them from the Zephyrian Empire. More messages arrived every hour. Free. Civilizations wanted to establish diplomatic relations with the species that had bloodied the galaxy's most feared conquerors. Rebel groups asked for military support. Scientists offered to share technology, but the most significant message came from a species called the Althurians, whose homeworld had been one of the first conquered by the Zephyrians centuries ago. Brave defenders of the third planet, their message began. We have waited 300 years for someone to prove that the Empire could be defeated. Your victory has given hope to billions of enslaved beings across the galaxy. We offer our knowledge, our friendship, and our eternal gratitude to the species that showed us freedom is still possible. Admiral Choi stood in her office, looking out at the construction of Earth's first orbital shipyard. The battle had been won, but it had also changed everything. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy not as conquerors, but as protectors. Of those who couldn't protect themselves? What have we started? Dr. Kang Myung asked, watching the stream of messages from across the stars. Something beautiful, Admiral Choi replied. We've started a revolution,